Hey, so in this video, I'm just going to talk about what Python is. Python is a interpreter. So what that means is you can have a text file, and what Python does is it's a program that reads over that text file and interprets it into Python code and runs that Python code. So, for instance, if you say x equals 3, print x, what Python's going to do and how Python reads files is it just reads it from top to bottom. So it starts at the top, it reads, and it goes down. And it knows what to do with certain things because it's written that way. People work on Python. There might be bugs in Python that people work on. I mean, it's an open source language, so everyone kind of contributes to it. But if I do this, it's going to say, all right, I'm going to create a variable called x, and we're going to assign the value 3 to it. So when I print x, well, x equals 3, so it should just print 3. And it does. So if I say y equals x plus 10, well, what Python's going to say is, all right, I'm going to take a variable y, and I'm going to say this is equal to x. Well, x is 3 plus 10, so y will be 13. So if I print y, it's 13. And if I say z equals x plus y, well, x is 3, y is 13, so print z is 16. And I can do all sorts of things. I can say t equals, this is a text value. And basically I can make a string, right? I can make it, this is called a string. I can make this in Python and run that as well. And if I try and add those together, so if I say, let's see, b equals x plus t, x is 3, t is not a number, right? It's a string. And I say print b, Python says, hey, I cannot add, right? This is an unsupported operand type of an integer and a string. So Python's going to know if this happens, if you see anything that happens like this and you see the word error or exception attached, that means your code has a problem. Learning how to read these error codes is a skill. It takes practice. It takes making a lot of errors and reading a lot of errors. So don't feel bad for making errors. You're supposed to make errors. You're supposed to have problems with code, so you can learn from it. So unsupported operand type plus. So in other words, I can't add these two things. I can say b equals, this is another string, and I could say c equals b plus t, and I can print c. And if you look, Python knows to add these. So here's b, this is another string, and here's t, this is a text value. And it doesn't know to put a space because it's just adding them. And by adding, it means I'm going to take this string and this string, and I'm literally going to just like slam them together, kind of put them side by side. So, but this is all Python's doing, is it's just reading code that you write, and code is just text. So you'll hear of certain file types called like Python file, like a .py file. So .py files, example, could be like app.py, and you would run this using Python app.py. If you're working in your terminal, don't worry about what a terminal is right now if you don't know what it is. And Python, what it's going to do is you're going to run the function Python over this file, and all Python's going to do is read that file. That's it. It just goes from top to bottom and it reads it. But it doesn't have to be a py file, right? You can actually do it with just a text file too. So you could say, app. Oh, I cannot type today. .text, and you can also run this using Python app.text, which is weird, because why can I run a text file? Well, it's because Python doesn't actually care. All Python does is rip open that file and read it from top to bottom. So it'll work with a text file. The file extension is for your computer and other programs to know what kind of file you're working with, but Python actually doesn't care. You might use something like VS Code, and if you open up a Python file, you'll see all these pretty highlights. You'll see all this cool stuff, and if you open up a text file, you just don't. You see like white text. And that's because VS Code is like, hey, I recognize the .py extension, so I'm going to do this thing. I recognize the .text extension, so I'm going to do this other thing. Python, though, when it comes to reading the code, like reading what you write, Python does not care. Python's an interpreter. It just takes what you give it and does Python stuff with it. Here's like a diagram I found that explains it really well. You write source code, it interprets it, and then your code runs. So that's how Python works. That's what it is. We'll go over data types in the next video. I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching.